What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. If you like videos about prepping, survival, self-reliance, and other related topics, then be sure to subscribe, turn notifications so you'll be notified each time that I upload a new video. I've been online searching for about 3 hours now, trying to find a definitive source of how many people has came across our southern border since Joe Biden's took office. You know, all these newcomers that come across the southern border, actually illegals, but they want to call them newcomers now. How many has came across? I've been trying to figure out what the actual number is, and in my opinion, no one knows, not even the federal government, because different sites I've read, different things I've read, different estimates I've read has had wide range in the numbers. I've saw from 6 million that's came across since Joe Biden took office up to 47 million people that's crossed the border since Joe Biden took office. I mean, what's the truth? How much is it? I mean, if it is anywhere even in between that, that's a huge amount of people. But it's amazing that there is no definitive source that you can rely on with these numbers, because in my opinion, they have no idea. They bring everyone across, ship them here and there, and they pretty much just disappear in the United States to do whatever they want. They have pretty much diplomatic immunity when it comes to traffic violations and things like that, and actually some violent crime. I mean, look what happened in New York City when I think it was 5 or 6 Venezuelan migrants attacked New York City police officers. They went into court, right back out. And if you had, 5 or 6 white guys did that to police officers, they'd still be in prison. But these illegals that comes over here, these newcomers that came over here, they go into court and get sent right out the door. So they really have no fear of prosecution. And they just move somewhere else and do it again. And I know a lot of these people in the comments like to talk about these Mexicans coming over here. It's not typically Mexicans from Mexico. Very, very small percentage, in my opinion, what I've read and what I've seen other people talk about that's actually on the border paying attention, like Michael Yon. Very small percentage is actually Mexicans. The majority are everywhere else across the world. We have a lot of people coming from Venezuela, and I read that Venezuela is emptying their prisons out, probably already emptied by now. All their prisoners, violent criminals, are being released and being sent across the border into the United States. Because they don't want those people there. They want those people out because those people are troubled or violent, they're murderers, they're killers. So they send them over here to us. In the United States, come on, we love you. Newcomers, come on. It is absolutely insane. And guys, we also have, a huge number of Chinese coming across the border. How does thousands of Chinese military-age males be let out of China and find their way to the Darien Gap and then come through into the United States? Can you just leave China whenever you want to? Can you just get on a plane by the tens of thousands and just fly to the United States, fly into, South America and come right across the Darien Gap into the United States? I wouldn't think so. I would think that China would have strict policies on who can leave and who can enter, especially who can leave when it's their own citizens. So it's obvious that the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, are allowing this to happen. They are picking these people out, sending these people over into the United States by the tens of thousands. That can't be good. Think about it. That can't be good. But our government, come on, everyone, come on over here. We'll give you a check, give you a cell phone, give you free medical. It is absolutely astonishing. And like I said, I've been trying to find numbers of how many, at least get a good approximation of how many. And it has been all over the board from what I've read. From 6 million since Joe Biden took office to 47 million. I mean, that's a huge discrepancy in numbers. But you can bet that it's at least 2 or 3 times what the federal government numbers are. If they tell you that it's 10 million, you can rest assured it's at least 25 or 30 million that came across, because they fudge the numbers. They lie with statistics. Same thing they have been doing with inflation. They lie about inflation. They work the numbers to get what they want and then send it out to the mainstream media, and people eats it up. They actually believe the bullshit numbers the federal government puts out. But I always know anything they put out about inflation, about illegal immigration, the numbers are well higher than they're giving us, because they don't want you to know the truth. So what is it? I would estimate at least probably 20 million people has come across the southern border since Joe Biden took office. We already had millions here already, but it's been picked up very, very substantially over the last 3.5 years here. And it's going to continue. It's going to continue. It's actually picking up from what I have seen. And, you know, they come over here and they get a cell phone. They get a debit card that I think it's $2,500 or $3,000. I think it's $3,000 debit card they're given that's replenished every month, or so I've read. And they get free medical care.
In New York City, migrants are being offered $10,000 MasterCards. That's just a credit card with a balance of $10,000 to spend that they don't have to pay back.
And they get asked, where do you want to go to? And they put on these white buses, and they're shipped all over the United States, here and there and everywhere. And thankfully, a lot of these people are going to sanctuary cities like in New York and places like that, but they're going to spread out. There's too many here now. But luckily for us here in the country, most of these people are going to the cities. But, you know, you think about it. What's these people going to do when inflation crashes the dollar, when the dollar collapses? And their debit card isn't enough to support them. When they can't go buy food with their debit card, when their cell phones go dead, what are they going to do? What's going to happen? No jobs, no money, nothing coming in, nowhere to go. What's going to happen? Violence. Violence is going to happen. Extreme violence, in my opinion. And common sense, not just in my opinion, it's common sense. Anyone to know what's going to happen. And same thing, you know, the economy, the dollar could crash. It's crashing now, inflation, and that $3,000 is not going to support these people for much longer. It's not going to support anyone. It's going to be so difficult and so expensive to buy and find food, because that's another thing. What if something happens to the food supply and you can't get enough food for all the people in the United States? What happens when both happens? When you have more and more dollars through, you know, hyperinflation, and they keep printing the dollar into hyperinflation, and you have more dollars chasing fewer and fewer goods, more and more inflation. So when they can't afford, you know, to live, what are they going to do? They're going to resort to violence and crime, like everyone else, or not everyone, but most people are going to do the same thing. People that's already here. We've already had our own population of people here who have been lifelong welfare recipients. Now, I'm not talking about people who have worked and paid in Social Security, the elderly that are getting Social Security and things like that. I'm also not talking about people who have been working and fallen on hard times and had to get food stamps and some help like that. That's what it's meant for. I'm talking about people who have been multi-generational welfare dependents here in the United States. You have a family that their parents lived off welfare, food stamps, government housing. Their kids get born, they do the same thing. Their kids get born, they do the same thing. Those type of people are already here. But we're shipping in others by the millions. And I remember when I first started prepping, as far as stockpiling goes, I was doing wilderness survival and things even before this, but when I first started trying to prep was in the late 1980s actually, and didn't have a lot of money. I was a teenager then, and I was stockpiling all that I could and doing all I could, learning skills. But I remember reading in all the magazines and things then, and online, not online, but all the magazines and newsletters that came out through the mail actually at the time. People were talking about, you know, the Golden Horde, the massive people who were going to come from the cities when everything collapsed. We have a lot more people here now. We have a lot of people here now that has no ties here in the United States, no loyalty whatsoever to the United States, to the people here already. And these people, unlike, you know, a lot of white folks, These other people will stick together. Venezuelans will stick together. The Chinese will stick together. These other people from other nations will stick together. They will go on their mission and stick together. And this is obviously, in my opinion, the organized takeover of the United States to replace the people that's already here. And what better way to do that than to ship people by the millions in, and then have a massive cyber attack, supposedly, take all the banking down, take the dollar down, have a dollar crash, hyperinflation. I mean, all kinds of things could happen, EMP, or even a simulated EMP that we're told is an EMP, it's actually a false flag attack, take everything down. And, you know, if you have something like that happen, and people can't turn the switch on electricity, turn the knob to have water, can't go to the bank, aren't getting their checks, aren't getting their disability, their food stamps, aren't getting their prepaid debit cards automatically resupplied every month. And if they do, they can't afford to buy food or can't find food. What's going to happen? Extreme violence. Who's going to be attacked? Exactly. Who's going to be attacked? Because some people will stick together, and hopefully others in these small communities will stick together like neighbors and put community watch in, things like that, and have radios to holler back and forth when they need help and patrol their own neighborhoods and try to protect their neighborhoods. And I think that's what's going to end up being in these communities. We're going to have to withdraw in amongst themselves and try to protect, you know, their small communities. It sounds crazy, but if you think about it, it's obvious what's going to happen. You know, they have the movie coming out, and I think it's this spring. Maybe it's April, I think that it is. Last of March or April, I think, maybe. Best I remember, guys. I'm taking this stuff out of my head, no notes whatsoever. Video on the fly. But that movie, Civil War, came out. And that would definitely be a start of the Civil War. To have all these millions come over here, and then all of a sudden cut everything off. It won't be the government's fault, obviously, because it will be blamed on someone else. It will be, you know, a massive cyber attack, more than likely. It brings the banking system down, the power grid down, the critical infrastructure down, and it will probably stay down for months. What's going to happen? Chaos. You would have gangs of these people ganging up that would have, you know, hundreds in these gangs going around like locusts, robbing, killing, stripping, everything they could find to strip out and take for themselves through violence. We have a massive amount of guns in this country, so it's easily to get armed. That's a good thing in my opinion, because I want to be armed. However, that also allows these other people to get armed also. I also heard that China was shipping automatic sears for Glock handguns over here in the United States as a drop-in part. You drop it into your handgun, and it will shoot full auto. So they're getting ready. I heard they have supplies, the Chinese especially, have supplies stashed here and there and everywhere. I seen a video talking about, I think it's Michael Yon again, I think who it was actually, talking about the Chinese are coming over here and setting up huge marijuana farms, criminal operations in the United States. We have fentanyl, drugs. I mean, this United States is a powder keg just ready to erupt any second. And all it's going to take to erupt that powder keg and that extreme violence is for all the benefits to stop for one reason or another. Because, you know, hyperinflation, because of food shortages, because of a cyber attack, EMPs, whatever. I mean, there's lots of different things that could happen, and it could all happen pretty much all at once to bring the system down. That could be the plan. And you talk about violence. When these people are starving, when these people are hungry, when they have no place to go, and same with everyone's already here now, the majority of these people here now, it is going to be very dangerous. Very, very dangerous to happen. And that would be the ultimate way to bring the United States down to its knees. And that would definitely lower the population very, very quickly. And all that violence broke out because everything was cut off. No more prepaid debit cards getting filled every month. No more medical. No more housing. What's going to happen? Common sense. Anyway, if you agree, you know in the comments below what you think. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below what you think also. But use common sense when you're posting your comment. Think about it before you do. Because what I'm saying here makes perfect sense to anyone with a brain, in my opinion. If you have millions coming over here, you already had so many million here already that were dependent on the system totally, and it all comes crumbling down. What's the result? Violence, extreme violence, gangs of people, probably several hundred people in a gang coming through, trying to take, killing, taking what they want, robbing, stealing, raping, murdering. You think it can't happen? Here's the United States. This is the United States any longer. We're not in Kansas anymore. If you found the video helpful, give it a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'm the Creekmore out here, and I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully.